Captain's Log, sea date the 24th of March, 2020. With a crew of only one, somehow the toilet got broken. I think the crab sabotaged me. A team of one has been dispatched to deal with this high-fiber problem. Updates to follow shortly. I think I'm going to have crab sticks for dinner tonight. That aside, there is a new video on Moisky Live concerning the announcement Boris Johnson made last night. The announcement in question essentially tells people to stay at home. Thank you to all of those who flouted that goodwill over the weekend to force the government to introduce something utterly draconian. I see you were all doing your bit for your country. There were some interesting tweets I recalled seeing but didn't bother to screen cap or archive, saying that while introverts might now really enjoy the enforced staying at home aspect of life, the same panic they feel when they're having to be extroverted, is that the term? Is the same panic extroverts feel now that they are made to be introverts. While I don't tend to think there is much accuracy to it, I do get the overarching point, and the anxiety some feel when they're stuck. It's more claustrophobia. That all aside, now that people are being made to stay home, we should address something I was originally sent as a meme when I asked people to send me their best Miller Lite virus memes. Turns out it's not a meme, it's actually an article from the Daily Mail, and I think we should laugh at it for a moment. I was going to talk about drunk elephants in China, but in truth I'm just surprised they have any elephants and haven't stuck them in the soup yet. Or, seen a young one and just decided, oh whoa, a snack. One day, one of those elephants you're going to take a bite out of is going to be a Tide Pod. Yeah. So, video game players are urged to play at reasonable times to avoid putting an extra strain on internet networks during the Miller Lite virus outbreak. Understandably, internet networks are going to have a lot more strain because people are at home and are bored and more than likely going to be playing video games on one screen and watching adult movies on the other. There was a thought that perhaps more would turn to YouTube either as an occupation because, or they would turn to it for entertainment. But since the polls still exist on the site, it's unlikely anyone's going to turn to it for entertainment purposes. With regards to how people play and what are the optimum hours, I always thought gamers were busier during the night time anyway. It's certainly how I remember playing raids on WoW, or online matches on COD. Granted, this may well put the strain on the service, but to be honest, if anything, this is now a damning statement for the quality of the service we currently have, because the strain wouldn't be there if we actually had the damn service we're supposed to have by now. Instead of the, is it aluminium still for many places? Yeah. I pay for fibre optic, up to a box, which then goes through copper, that was only recently changed from aluminium to copper. UK, one of the most powerful economies in the world, with internet on par with dial-up. I'm being sarcastic, please don't read too much into that. British video game experts have asked online players to favour evening time sessions. Isn't that when everyone plays anyway? Understandably, gaming, yes, can slow down internet speeds and frustrate people working from home. If they're working from home, they'll get their job done eventually, and they're getting paid. The rest of us play games because it takes our mind off the fact that we've lost a lot of our work. By the way, on that note, streaming Plague Inc. on Twitch tonight. Let's see if we can finally end the world with a fungus. It will be called Miller Lite. Fingers crossed. If it doesn't work, it's okay. I've got backups. Online gaming has been dubbed the biggest threat to internet bandwidth, and so these next few weeks are going to be particularly trying for those who are, let's say, trying to get the most out of what they can have because everything else has been taken away from them. Steam has reported this week that a record number of gamers have been online. Understandable if they're not working, or if they are working or they need something recreational to do, it is one of the few outlets they may have access to if they can't, for example, draw, read a book, pick up a phone, masturbate. The list really does go on. Due to social distancing measures, many people have started working from home or self-isolating with others, because that totally means self-isolating, which increases daytime internet traffic. I guess that means more people need to be working on that 5G lines. Let's get Huawei in, yeah? Are we still talking to China? But gamers have been asked to limit time online during working hours to ensure that those in self-isolation trying to get work done aren't affected by slow speeds. I think I can speak on behalf of all workers when I say, to those who are doing their work from home, get good scrub. The issue could get worse in the UK, as schools around the country have been forced to close due to the rapid spread of Miller Lite 19, which gives young gamers more time to do nothing, or just play games. Now, while video streaming services such as Netflix and YouTube are committing to reducing their digital footprint during this Miller Lite virus crisis, gaming is perhaps the biggest threat to the internet bandwidth in the next few months. That quote comes from a video games expert, Rick Henderson, and the number of those playing games currently seen online on Steam, according to the Steam database on Twitter, is over 20 million, with 6.2 million currently in-game. I wonder how many of those are playing Plague Inc. Some services have seen spikes in user activity, which would include what I had thought would go the way of the dinosaurs, but is still here somehow. EA have kept it alive. FIFA. Yay. Because that's what you need, to spend more money on FIFA points for those precious packs. Now, it is understandable, because people are being forced to withdraw from physical or social interaction for 12 weeks, that they're going to rely on things like gaming. So my recommendation isn't to tell people to be more considerate, but to simply accept and adapt on your end. Improve the service as best you can, because people have already proven they're going to ignore you regardless. It's why the strain has been applied to you guys anyway, and it's going to get worse. Because let's not forget here, over the weekend when they were told to social distance, to be more mindful, to not go out, the British people decided, no, I'm going to go and do whatever I want because I know better. So the advice from the experts in the gaming community is going to equally fall on deaf ears. My recommendation to you then is to do more on your end to improve the service as best you can and keep it going for as long as you can, because no one is going to listen to you anyway. Internet service providers have insisted they can in fact handle the already confirmed increases in daytime traffic. Both BT and Virgin Media said on Friday that even though they are seeing an increase, traffic is still well within capacity limits. Fantastic, but since it is well established that BT's service is utter dog shit, gonna pretend that didn't happen, it's safe to say you're never gonna have a strain on your service because your service is still in the 90s. And I haven't used Virgin Media since university, so 2012. I have no idea if they're any good now. I only remember the issue in Norwich of Cable 9. Always Cable 9. Blame Cable 9 for everything. I want to blame something else. Can't imagine who. Now, as I am done here, I'm very much interested to know what you think about it, but I also want to know, if you are at home, what game are you playing? What is it you do to while away the time? I tonight will play Plague Inc. on Twitch. I'm probably going to stream for a few hours because I've got nothing else to do. If you're at all interested in joining, please do swing by. I would greatly appreciate it as I try and quest towards 1,500 followers. Yes. So I hope you'll have a fantastic second day of quarantine, and thank you all for listening. Azathoth by H.P. Lovecraft. When age fell upon the world, and wonder went out of the minds of men, when grey cities reared to smoky skies tall towers grim and ugly, in whose shadow none might dream of the sun or of spring's flowering meads, when learning stripped earth of her mantle of beauty, and poets sang no more save of twisted phantoms seen with bleared and inward-looking eyes. When these things had come to pass, and childish hopes had gone away forever, there was a man who travelled out of life on a quest into the spaces, whither the world's dreams had fled. Of the name and abode of this man but little is written, for they were of the waking world only. Yet it is said that both were obscure. It is enough to know that he dwelt in a city of high walls, where sterile twilight reigned, and that he toiled all day among shadow and turmoil, coming home at evening to a room whose one window opened not on the fields and groves, but on a dim court, where other windows stared in dull despair. From that casement one might see only walls and windows, except sometimes when one leaned far out and peered aloft at the small stars that passed. And because mere walls and windows must soon drive to madness a man who dreams and reads much, the dweller in that room used night after night to lean out and peer aloft to glimpse some fragment of things beyond the waking world and the greyness of tall cities. After years he began to call slow-sailing stars by name and to follow them in fancy when they glided regretfully out of sight, till at length his vision opened to many secret vistas whose existence no common eye suspects. And one night a mighty gulf was bridged, and the dream-haunted sky swelled down to the lonely watcher's window, to merge with the close air of his room, and make him a part of their fabulous wonder. There came to that room wild streams of violet midnight glittering with dust of gold, vortices of dust and fire, swirling out of the ultimate spaces and heavy with perfumes from beyond the worlds. Opiate oceans poured there, litten by suns that the eye may never behold, and having in their whirlpools strange dolphins and sea nymphs of unrememberable deeps. Noiseless infinity eddied around the dreamer and wafted him away, without even touching the body that leaned stiffly from the lonely window. And for days not counted in men's calendars, the tides of fast spheres bared him gently to join the dreams for which he longed, the dreams that men have lost. And in the course of many cycles they tenderly left him sleeping on a green sunrise shore, a green shore fragrant with lotus blossoms and starred by red camelots.